This can change from this to this. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I've been sent another offering, a very kind offering from Wuben. And as mentioned before, when dealing with Wuben, I've exchanged no money or cash at all, so all of these opinions are my own and no one else's. This is the E7 flashlight together with head mount and also an extender tube. Now first and foremost we will unbox the E7 flashlight. Opening the box for the first time, you are immediately faced with the instruction manual. This is, as you would expect from Wuben, clearly laid out and extremely easy to follow. Whilst diving in further, by pulling the pull tag, you are faced with the accessory box. This is where you find the wrist strap, some O-ring seals and of course the charging cable. The wrist strap of course is well made and extremely useful. The two O-rings supplied are a handy addition because if you damage the others, at least you got some replacements. This further reassures you of the IP68 rating that is afforded to this flashlight. This rating means that the E7 can be submerged with up to 1 meter of water. Lifting up the flashlight for the first time, you are immediately struck by how solid it feels as it's made of full metal construction apart from the lens. I like the fact that I have to de-seal the E7 as it means that the quality assurance has been good and thorough throughout. Taking a closer look at the E7, you realise how functionally and yet practically made it is. It's not pretty looking, but it's very functional at the same time, and it only has one moving part, and that is the on-off switch, apart from obviously unscrewing the base, which incidentally is magnetic. Wuben ships all of its flashlights with a battery protector, and that's what we're going to take off now. This ensures that through shipment there's no damage made to the battery. The battery supplied with the E7 is 1100 milliamps and is rated at 3.6 volts. This is good for up to 60 hours on the lowest setting, which is 5 lumens, or indeed the high setting, which is about 1.5 hours or just under. There is quite a bit of resistance whilst unscrewing or screwing up the battery compartment, but this is obviously down to the weather sealing and the rubber O-rings. This is a good thing in my opinion, as it reassures you that in any condition you're well sealed. The on-off switch is countersunk, which means that it can't be accidentally switched on. Just underneath that is the USB-C charging port, and this is protected with a little rubber seal. Now to do some charging before we start utilising this flashlight. The charging cable has a USB-C connector and a USB-A connector, and it's about 24 inches long. To charge, first of all connect the USB-A side of the cable to a plug socket that is relevant to the USB-A connector. Then connect the USB side of the charging cable to the flashlight in the USB-C port. A red charging indicator light will appear on the E7. When switching on the E7, a blue flashing light appears which indicates that the charge is roughly between 40 and 90%. On this occasion the charging took about 45 minutes, however it can take up to 1.5 hours to get to a full charge from zero. The E7 has 6 light settings, the first of which is the low setting, which is equivalent to 5 lumens, which is good for up to 60 hours. Press and hold to get to the medium setting, which is 150 lumens. The next setting is high, and that's 400 lumens, and according to the manual will last you about 1.3 hours. The E7 has a memory function, so no matter which light setting you had on before, when you switch it back on again, it will remain the last one you had selected. Whenever using the E7, both lamps are illuminated. This gives you ultimate coverage no matter what you're pointing at, or indeed which power setting you're on. By keeping your finger on the on-off switch, you can cycle through the various light settings, and if you double press no matter what setting you're in, it goes immediately to turbo mode. This immediately jumps to 1800 lumens for a period of 1 minute before stepping down to 800 lumens and then settling back at 400. To get to strobe mode, which is at 1000 lumens, you just have to triple press the on-off switch, and if you triple press again you go to the SOS mode, which is based at 200 lumens. The wrist strap can be attached to the very versatile metal clip, or at the base on the battery cover where there's a little hole. If you purchase the P1 head strap adapter, you can also make this a little bit more versatile again, therefore making it a headlamp. The quality of the strap was surprisingly good, as I thought it would literally be cheap material, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It's perforated in just the right amount of areas. The metal clips and clasps also feel of good quality. The main clip with which you clip the E7 to also feels very strong and certainly feels reassuring just by the hand. Sliding the E7 into place is also very easy, just keep pressing until you feel a definite click. The angle of light can be adjusted by just a few short clicks. You don't need to do anything, just twist the headlamp and it makes these definite clicking sounds. Each little click holds it in place perfectly and it's not easily moved. Removing the headlamp is also an easy affair, and all you had to do is just press this little release clip and it should just slide out. The E7 with the battery inside weighs precisely 81 grams, and with the head strap-on weighs 112 grams. Length is 60.19 millimeters. Width is 24.05 millimeters. Depth including the belt clip is 32.22 millimeters. The E7 can also be extended, in other words you can have a larger battery in so it actually lasts a lot longer. Here I'm opening the E7 YCT battery extender. The link to this is in the description below. The tube is of full metal construction apart from the rubber seals on the inside of the screw threads, therefore still maintaining the IP68 rating. All you have to do is simply unscrew the battery cap and then replace it with the extender tube. Keep screwing the extender tube until it matches the same shape as the actual flashlight. You now have to replace the battery. You can either buy the same battery again and therefore have two of the same ones together, or do what I've done, which is to buy a larger one altogether. This particular battery was sold in a twin pack and each one was 3500 milliamps. Therefore I should be hopefully getting more than double the normal run time. Slot either the two or the single large battery into place and then screw back on the battery cap. I've put a link in the description below for the battery twin pack if you're interested. To ensure a good connection and also the IP68 rating, ensure that the cap is screwed in nice and tightly. Now let's try it on the head mount. I wasn't entirely sure how well balanced this would be when I clicked it into place, however it's well balanced as you can see here. As you can see, the E7 is proportionately weighted either side. Now let's test the rotation ability of the headlamp to see if this also clicks nicely. Yes, it certainly works well. The weight with the extended tube and the larger battery is 114 grams, and with the head strap brings up to 146 grams. The length is now increased up to 91.69 millimeters. Charging took longer than I'd hoped. I thought it would take a little bit longer, but certainly not 3.5 hours as it took on this occasion. Now to test the E7's magnetic base on the bonnet of my car. This certainly feels that it won't easily be moved, even in a very strong wind. Even when I move it around by hand, it's still very secure. Now to try on the side of the door to see if it holds its own weight comfortably, and it certainly does that. And even moving it around by hand and simulating a knock, it certainly feels very secure. This is now the E7 with the extended tube on the side of the car. I was curious to see how strong the magnet would be with this because it's significantly heavier. However, I certainly wasn't disappointed and it felt just as secure as it was with the lighter battery option. It certainly helps making sure you have it on the correct surface, as this wasn't plain sailing, as you can see here at home on the freezer. Although this too is a metal door, it must have some sort of covering that makes it less magnetic. Okay, let's go out in the field and test out this E7 flashlight. However, hold your horses because we need to see how good we look before we go outside. This is the first option with just the single battery. Some of you might or might not have noticed that I've actually got a bolt head. Now this means I can test how comfortable the strap is. And it certainly feels comfortable, and I can't imagine it will be uncomfortable even with prolonged use. This is now the E7 with the extended tube, and it certainly feels just as comfortable. There's a little bit of extra weight, but it's not that notable. Even with shaking it around, it doesn't feel like it's going to come loose or slide off my head, and again feels comfortable. Okay, now to the outside. Okay, this is on the low setting. And for a low setting, this isn't too bad. Okay, so I'm going to take it up a notch and just see what the next one is. This is medium. Gosh, that's certainly quite bright. Quite happy with this. Let's look around at the field. We're just on the outskirts of an industrial estate, so you can see a bit of ambient light, but I'll turn it off in a second so you can see that it's not too bad. So I'm just going to set up my tripod. Okay, so this is pitch back here. I'm just going to switch it off, and that's what I can see. Well, I can't even see that. I think the phone is actually lighting up the ground pretty well here. Okay, so switch it back on. It's back to medium, and that's high mode. As you can see, it's definitely lighting up those trees. Yeah, I've got a good vision here, and those trees ahead, it's just about kissing the ones ahead. You can't really see it on the phone, I noticed, but it's not too bad. I can just about touch them, and they're about 100 meters away, so I'm going to go to boost mode. Whoa, that's like a little mini floodlight. That's pretty good. Quite impressed with that. And this apparently lasts about a minute before it steps down to 800 lumens, and then after a minute again it goes down to about another 400 lumens, and it stays at that, which is the original high range. So it's going to turn it off for now, and that's what I can see. So I'm going to double press it again, and as you can see, it turns night into day. Pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to do strobe. Quite bright. And now I'm going to go to SOS mode. Okay, this is SOS. Don't want to keep that on for too long because I don't want to worry people. Yes, impressed, very impressed. This is on the lowest setting, lighting up the ground very comfortably here. And this apparently lasts for 60 hours with a smaller battery, so I'm assuming with the larger battery it'll last double that, so maybe 120, and given that the larger battery is 3,500 milliamps, it should last a very long time. But yes, very impressed with that, and it feels comfortable too. You don't really realise how light it feels until you start fiddling with it. I actually didn't need the tripod, but yeah, nice. Very reassuring, quite like that. Just walking back to the car, it's just a nice gentle beam. It's just well floodlit. It's not too spotty, and yeah, it's powerful enough and punchy enough to go at least a couple of 100 meters, especially on boost mode. So I'm quite impressed with that. Very comfortable. This is on medium mode, by the way. I just thought I'd do another bit of random footage on the way back, just so you can see what the E7 looks like. I think that the E7 looks absolutely fantastic. Now to my final thoughts on the E7. In essence, I can sum it up by saying it's small, rugged, compact, powerful, and very dependable, and it looks good too. The E7 has a fantastic magnetic base, and it also has a very equally fantastic belt clip. On its own, this is a very decent flashlight and provides plenty of power and usability. The fact that you can use the E7 as a headlamp makes it that much more flexible. For the sake of about $20, you can fully upgrade this to make the battery last longer. Over the years, I've had my fair share of experience with headlamps, and this certainly feels the most comfortable. This is probably down to the fact that the clasp is well balanced at the front of the head, together with a decent strap leads itself to be a dependable unit. I believe it's certainly worthwhile buying all these extra add-ons, as you've got every base covered. At the moment, the E7 is on special and is around about £30. It's certainly worth that money. Links to all of these items are in the description below. If you enjoyed this video or wish to see some more, please like and subscribe, as it helps to support my little channel. Please feel free to leave comments in the comment field of this channel, because I do read them all and I will respond to all of them eventually. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting my channel so far. Remember to be strong and be kind and be awesome. See you again soon.